Operation Spider's Web 2.0. Ukraine strikes back again. This is what we will talk about today. Hello there, I am Elina. Welcome back to my channel Enough of Propaganda. Please like, subscribe, share my videos. Let's make truth available for everyone. It will be especially helpful if you subscribe during watching the video. YouTube algorithm then started to promote this video more. What we will talk about today is continuation of this of my video. Here it is. And it's not the Operation Spider's Web, which already happened. Now we will talking about another part of it. It's 2.0. And in a minute you will find out what I'm talking about. During the first operation, Ukrainian drones flew out of the boxes on top of the containers and attacked Russian air bases. 4 of air bases. Should have been attacking 5, but one truck it seems to be blown up, so it didn't happen. Basically, Ukraine destroyed one leg of the Russian nuclear triad, but not because of that, it's just because those planes were already fueled and loaded to go and kill Ukrainian civilians and bomb Ukrainian cities and so on. So it was an amazing operation, done extremely well, executed perfectly. It was planned for like 17 months or something like that. Now there is a second part of it. Ukrainian Southern Forces Command claims that Russian equipment losses during the next part of attack, when the drones actually flew out of compartments on a Russian cargo train of grain. There are several cabooses with grain, and they also had the same things like the trucks, the boxes on top of it, which remotely open and drones flying out of it. So, 1 railway locomotive destroyed, 13 tanks, 7 artillery systems, 103 units of automotive and armored equipment, 10 fuel tank cars carrying an estimated 158,000 to 172,000 gallons of fuel. And by the way, Russian Z-Patriots, so-called Telegram channels, claims that the loss of locomotive destroyed with tanks and dozens of armored vehicles, so they confirmed it. This is reliable Telegram channel of Igor Sushko, and that's what he is posting. Ukrainian drones flew out of grain train cars' hatches and destroyed 13 Russian tanks and more than 100 armored vehicles and other equipment being transported by the Russian train in occupied southern Ukraine. And the hatches appear to have been opened remotely again. Chuck Farrer, famous military expert and former Navy SEAL, confirming the same thing. This is his post. And these are Ukrainian heroes, Ukrainian spy couple who executed Operation Spiderweb on Russian soil and changed the trajectory of the war, Katerina and Artyom Timofeyev. So if Russia will soon claim that people who is behind it get arrested, as I told you in my previous video, this is not true. These people already safely out of Russia, and Putin can't reach them. Russia planned Operation Zeus Lightning, largest ever cruise missile attack on all of Ukraine, for the night of June 1st, to force Ukrainian hand on Istanbul conversations for the next day. And Ukrainian, they destroyed many of these very bombers. As I just told you, they were already fueled hours before they were to take off. So these people helped to make it happen. At the same time, Ukrainian intelligence and services literally rented a building in Russia near FSB office, by the way, loaded drones in the boxes, and as I showed you in my previous video, attacked Russian military bases, which was absolutely perfectly executed attack on the valid military targets. In this video from Ukraine, Ukraine Secret Services, and showing the flight of the drone right from the box to the military bases in Russia, and showing how it all happened in actually good quality. In my previous video, you could see that Russia actually started to cover this operation up right away. They're trying to move planes and put a new plane instead and showing, oh, not that many planes get destroyed. But this is continuing of the story. So Russia was so devastated by that attack that they trying to remove the planes further onto Chukotka and some other remote part of Russia. This is again the post of Chuck Farrer. And there are reports that Russia has scattered their two 160 planes, strategic bombers, as far as another Chukotka. It is 6,600 or 6,700 kilometers from Ukraine. So this extreme measure, stranding these alert aircrafts thousands of kilometers from support facilities, is basically a last gasp defensive measure. Meanwhile, 1 million casualties is coming closely, and soon Russia will reach million casualties. According to Igor Sushko, it will take 4 days. I'm not sure, it depends how many people Russia will lose every day. And this is from June 8th. 900,096 and 150. 1,120 people a day. And another aircraft. Today, a Ukrainian pilot in an American F-16 shot down Su-35 fighter jet with an American air-to-air missile inside Russia. In Kursk region, this is where it happened, which is Russia, not Ukraine, Russian Federation. And Russians confirmed, according to Tendar, YouTube channel, also quite reliable channel, Russians confirmed that one Su-35S was destroyed in the Kursk sector. And according to Ukrainian sources, it was downed by F-16, which is enormous achievement. Another one, first time in history in the war in Ukraine. This is what happened. About 7 of those Su-35s were destroyed before, but this one is destroyed by F-16. F-16 fighter. And also, to be able to do that, they will need special plane. Aid from type ASC 890 surveillance crafts. And Sweden announced to transfer 2 planes of that type back in 2024. Its radar can track targets up to 400 kilometers or 250 miles away. This was very helpful, and this is why it can happen. Igor Sushko is posting that it is confirmed. Several videos I saw from Russian side was a bit old and it wasn't confirmed before, but now it's confirmed. So basically, American F-16 fighter jet shot down a Russian Su-35S fighter with an American AIM-120 missile in Russia. And there is a video of this. Russians are claiming that pilot survived. And more information on the Russia Engels Airbase fuel depot fire. It's continued to burn for the 3rd day. And Sushko is asking why the Vatniks or Russians, pro-Russians, crying that attacking fuel storage for Russia's nuclear triad planes is against some sort of a made-up rule of war. They do realize nuclear bombers aren't nuclear powered, right? So these were the planes who were flying and hitting Ukrainian civilians and Ukrainian cities. This is Crystal Aviation Fuel Depot that supplies Engels Airbase is on fire for the 3rd day. And more information on Russia. The Swiss Eurochem Azot chemical plant, currently burning after Ukraine drone attacks, supplied nitric acid to Sverdlov explosive factory, which produces octogen and hexogen, which is in turn are used to artillery shell warheads. And this is what is happening there. Just in case you didn't know, a Swiss company is operating inside Russia, still to this day, to provide chemicals for Russian artillery shells. This is the fire which is going on in Azov chemical plant, and Russian governor of Tula region confirmed this, that it's still going on and it was hit by Ukrainian drones. Again, all of these are valid military targets. There is no question about it. This plant is located in Novomoskovsk in Tula region. That's why governor of Tula was talking about it. Several explosions and continuing exploding several times. This is what was happening. While Ukraine is hitting valid military targets, this is what Russia is doing. This is Kharkiv, 1.5 million people city where my friends are living. Lots of Russian-speaking Ukrainians. This is what Russia is doing, bombing civilians. And this is why Ukraine is trying to prevent this from happening. This is why the Operation Spiderweb destroyed those planes, because this is what they are doing. Those planes was not just part of Russian nuclear triad, it's the planes who literally bombing Ukrainian cities, killing civilians, children, women, everybody. On top of this, Russians committing massive war crimes in every other way. These are Russian drone operators in Kherson, which Russia claimed to be a Russian city. I mentioned it in my previous video, which was the only regional capital Russia captured since 2022 full-scale invasion, but had to give it back to Ukraine and retreat because they couldn't hold the city. So, but Russia signed in the constitution that Kherson is Russia. Turned out to be, according to international law, of course it is not. Kherson is Ukraine. But Russia is considered it's a Russian city. That's what Russia is doing in Kherson. They have been hurting civilians using FPV drones. They do it on purpose. They train in their drone operators on civilians in Kherson, attacking little minivans which they use as a taxi in Russia and so on. So what happened? Ukrainian forces located one of these bases and used two AASM Hammer glide bombs to wipe out Russian drone base. So they stop hunting civilians. This is what happens. Again, this is another valid military target. This place was sending drones to kill Ukrainian civilians on purpose, deliberately. This is why they were wiped out. In the last additional part to my previous video, when I was talking about the bridge collapse and the train with Russian civilians were destroyed, 7 people dead, about 120 wounded and so on, which Putin is trying to present as an attack, and a T-word was used, like deliberately Ukrainians trying to get rid of Russian civilians, turned out to be this is not true. This is Moskovsky Komsomolets, Moscow Komsomol, a Russian newspaper, which is passing information from the prosecutor's office of Russian Federation, what actually happened. And as I mentioned to you before, this bridge was in terrible condition. In about May, even 25th was the last information that it's in such a bad condition and so on, that it could have collapsed on its own. But nevertheless, let's see what actually happened. Basically, about 10:20 in the evening, the bridge, which car bridge, fell down on the railroad down below. Keep in mind in time, like it was 20 minutes after 10 p.m. And experts, Russian experts, said all the legs of the bridge basically there are bombs attached to it and so on. But what happened? The civilian truck was loaded, drove on the bridge collapsed. But they couldn't get rid of the debris and so on. And 22:50 means 50 minutes after 10 p.m. A Russian civilian train ran into this debris. So 30 minutes later, a Russian civilian train whacked itself into that debris. And both drivers were dead and so on. And so on. So Russia not only failed to stop this train ahead, they had 30 minutes to do so. This is not Ukrainians saying, this is Russian prosecutor's office who did so-called investigation of the same. Before that, as I said, 10 minutes ahead, the military train with military equipment passed there. And we're only talking about it because at the same day happened several attacks on the trains by Ukraine. So we don't know for sure, was Ukraine even involved in this, or bridge collapsed just because of it was in poor condition and the truck was driving on top of it. But nevertheless, Russian authorities has 30 minutes to clean up the debris. And the last cherry on the top of this cake is that we can't really find out what's happening because Russia claiming that they had to clean up the railroad. That's why they blew everything up after that, to clean up the debris. They made a blast and get rid of all the evidence and so on. So no matter how Putin is trying to present this, this was not a deliberate attack on Russian civilians or anything like that. This was either negligence because of the Russian war in Ukraine, Russia failed to fix the bridges and so on, or something else. Ukraine was trying to get rid of this bridge or collapse it on a previous train and so on, but they did not target civilians deliberately. In the end, I would like to show you some Kharkiv, which was just attacked again. It was the biggest attack since the beginning of full-scale invasion, and it was September 2020. And meanwhile, I want to share with you some exciting news. I just got this kind of patch and a card from famous YouTuber Jake Bro, this man, and his father. The card says, "Dear Defender, thank you for your invaluable contribution to our Invictus fundraiser. Together we raised over $1.2 million for Ukraine once again. And this is for purchasing trucks and drones for Ukraine. Jake Bro, just a regular American, former military, who created YouTube channel and he's telling the truth about the war in Ukraine for all these over 3 years of the full-scale invasion, and collected, for example, he had several campaigns in 2024 and even now, just recently, and collected over $1 million US each time for Ukraine, for trucks, for drones, for helping Ukraine. So this is what one person can do. This is very inspiring, and thank you very much to Jake and to his father for sending me this, and for NATO 69th Brigade, which they had a whole campaign together with, and I have several videos and posts on Quora, which thousands of people saw, to helping with these campaigns. So thank you everyone who donated to these campaigns as well, through YouTube on my channel, for example, or through Quora, who I invited to do so. Thank you all very much. Please keep supporting Ukraine. Stand by what is right, and learn the truth and stay informed. Thank you for watching. See you later.